Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out something called Clicker Heroes by developer Playsaurus. I don't know if you guys all remember this, but back a few months ago there was a point in time when I had mentioned and covered and played a lot of this game called Cookie Clicker, and it kind of tore through my Twitter friends like a plague, destroying all productivity. That's kind of where we're at again with Clicker Heroes. This is one of those games that's basically an endless Skinner box designed for permanent positive reinforcement, where clicking on an object will make a number grow larger. That number results in more damage that you can then do to enemies that then grow a number larger that then rolls back into itself forever. It's real bad in terms of addictiveness. I say bad, but I mean good. Don't get the wrong idea. I've actually put this in my URL bar as a hot link so I can go back to it very, very frequently. It's scaring me a little bit. I should probably not even do this video because I've probably harmed a lot of you in terms of productivity. But anyway, let's just roll on and I'll show you what exactly Clicker Heroes is about. So let's hit play. I've erased my progress from this, so this is a brand new world that I've started here. To be honest with you, this video is probably going to be really short because there's not all that much to talk about, but I think what happens is in the long-form version of the game, it starts to really build and build. But for the start of the video, we're not going to see much of any of that stuff. It's going to just kind of happen little by little. So we're going to start by clicking on this greeble pillar, collecting one piece of gold, and you'll see there's a little skull right up here, and it says 2 out of 10. Now, each one of these areas up above that, this is a world or an area or a plane or whatever you want to call it. When you get up to that number where it says 2 out of 10, says 10 out of 10, we'll unlock the next area and we can then proceed forward onto some harder enemies. And every 5 levels, or 5 worlds I should say, is a boss. And those bosses act sort of like a gatekeeper that's going to stop you from making progress too quickly. So you're probably wondering, what's the point? Like, why do I want to keep going on and on? Well, the further you go, the more damage you're going to do, the more abilities you're going to unlock, and the more difficult enemies and more crazy bosses you're going to have to fight. Now, I say crazy, but what I mean is they kind of just stand there and wait for you to beat on them, but there's a 30-second timer. So if you can't kill them fast enough, you're not going to be able to beat that boss, and you're just going to have to start over. You can't actually lose in this game. There's no death mechanism whatsoever or anything like that. And I'm going to actually hit a level up here on Sid the Helpful Adventurer. This is actually technically you. And what the effect is every time you click on this to level up, you're actually getting a bonus to your click damage. So the more I do this, the faster I'm going to be able to kill these enemies. And now that I've finished the 10 required from me here, I can go on to Forest Level 2, where the enemies are going to take slightly longer, and they'll also give you more gold. So you can see where the spiraling effect starts to begin, and where the addictiveness could also start to take root as well. So the game is encouraging me to level up a few times here, so I'll be able to take these guys out much faster, and now that I can do that, I should have a much faster route toward getting an unlock for a tree beast. And when I get a tree beast, what's going to happen is basically I'm going to start getting passive damage in addition to my own. So that means I should be able to essentially start just sitting here and watching the damage get mined while I just wait. So I'm going to need a little bit more money though, so we're going to actually go on to level 3. Grab a little bit more. I'm getting 4 gold now per kill. And sometimes you actually get some variations on that. I don't believe it always drops the same 4 gold. You'll end up finding certain creatures that might have a chance at giving you more gold. Some, I think, just randomly give you less. I'm not really sure of all the very specific details, but honestly, it doesn't matter at all. When you get on into later levels in the game, it's not going to be a factor. You're just going to be picking up so much money, you won't even care. Alright, so now we've got a tree beast working for us, and it's going to actually build up over time. The more of this we get, the faster the passive damage is going to accrue, and basically just sit here and wait. I don't even have to attack things at all if I don't want to. The gold is actually just going to sit on the ground for a while, and then it will get auto-picked up and added to my inventory. So now we've got to level 4. The Impossible, that's a strange name, is now an enemy we're fighting, and that's going to die. There we go. Drops 1 coin. Wait a second, the coin will get picked up, and money will be added. See, there it goes. So, things I want to say about this game, other than just the general premise, which I feel like we've kind of already talked about a little bit. It's super addictive. It has a really good art style. In fact, I'm kind of amazed that this game is free, because it seems like a lot of work has gone into this, honestly. And I'm not saying that not a lot of work has gone into the other games in the genre I mentioned, just this one seems to go above and beyond. what I would have expected from something like this. And it brings me to another point in that I think it's kind of fascinating that we've seen so many of these types of games, and none of them have gotten out of the realm of being self-aware, in that they all seem to treat this as, yeah, we get that this is just a weird diversionary thing, and it's not really meant to be played as a serious game. And I think that's kind of cool, but at the same time, I wonder, like, when is that going to change? When is somebody going to decide, hey, I made Cookie Clicker, and I put X and Y features in it, I'm going to ask for $10 for this game. And would they be wrong to do that? I would say probably not. I think this is totally a valid thing to do. And I just think it's kind of funny that nobody has really taken it to that level. And I kind of wonder why. Because if anything, this game, I could see a lot of people would probably have no problem paying $5 for this and saying, hey, I got my money's worth, I played it for 20 hours. Or, hey, I played this for 6 months. I mean, what really is at the base level of what is considered a game? Because you could look at this and you could say, hey, this is way more of a game than Dear Esther, but is it still a game? And I bring that up to be controversial. I don't actually believe Dear Esther is not a game, nor do I think it actually matters. But I do think that it's interesting to have conversations about things like that. Do you consider games like Clicker Heroes and Cookie Clicker to be a game? I mean, there is an objective, it's just an endless objective, and it's always giving you positive reinforcement. I could make the argument, hey, this isn't any less of a game than the multiplayer mode in Call of Duty, because this is essentially getting to the core of what makes those games addictive. You get numbers, those numbers increase over time. Whether or not you necessarily accrue more skill, you're always making positive progress, and this is sort of a thing that I think is the most intrinsic thing that helps build addictive value for games. And whether or not it results and manifests in more addictive gameplay is kind of besides the point. The game is inherently addictive by itself. So I'm very curious to hear what your opinions are about whether or not these sorts of things are considered valid in your opinion. I mean, ultimately, I don't think it really matters, but I do just like to see what public opinion is about this sort of thing and where people fall on that side, or those sides of the possible two sides of the coin, I guess. So we're going to go and fight a boss now on level 5, and you'll see that its health bar is quite slow to go down, so it's got a lot more health. And I'm going to actually have to enlist my other finger here to try and build damage a little bit faster. I am aware that I'm not using my power-ups effectively. I could be actually getting to much more damage if I choose to, but I just wanted to show you what this could look like if you were underprepared for a boss. And there we go, we've done that. So now we get to level 6, and the general art scheme changes a little bit. We've now got drylands instead of forest areas, although the enemies do tend to stay not too crazy from the beginning. That's one thing, actually, I have seen not a lot of huge advancement in. I've played, I don't know, probably about 10 hours of this game so far, and I've gotten to, I think, about level 55 in terms of progression, you know, world level. When I say level, in this case, I mean world, not level of my character. My character level is probably like 250 or something, but that doesn't really matter because it only really matters when you see all the other characters that are going to get involved. Alright, so I've now built up 250 coins. I'm going to buy Ivan the Drunken Brawler, who's going to increase my DPS drastically. And you'll see that the bar starts to descend much faster. Good news for me, means less time spent clicking, but you'll also notice next to the character here on the profile portraits, we've actually got some little grayed out looking power-ups, and these are actually really a big deal. When I get my hero to level 10, which I'm still rather far away from, I'll be able to unlock Big Clicks. What Big Clicks do is they increase this character's click damage by 100%. So basically, my DPS for clicking is going to double right then and there by clicking that one power-up. And this is sort of how things take the shape of over a long period of time. Each one of these characters has a ton of these sort of augmentations that'll unlock over various power-up times. And there we go, level 10. Now I just need to get up to 100 gold again, which won't take all that long, and then we'll be able to actually see what that does, even though I've already kind of explained it. Now, in terms of overall progression, it seems like this game could go on for a very long time. I can't say that I've played enough of it to know 100% what happens in the quote-unquote endgame of this, but I do know that when I went to reset my save for this, it said something about hero souls, which kind of gives me the idea that there is some sort of like meta-level game or like a reset thing that happens. There we go, we've gained Big Clicks. There are also some active abilities that'll show up eventually, and I'm not sure how long I have to play to get to those, so I don't actually remember. But once I get them, there's actually going to be a hotbar that shows up next to this, and it'll actually be marked with hotkeys 1 through 10, or 1 through 0, I should say. You know, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Did I start at 0? I meant to start at 1. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, those will actually be really useful for a variety of reasons, one of which being helping you get past some difficult bosses in terms of, like, oh, these are way outpaced for where you should be in terms of damage progression. So it's kind of interesting that this takes the form of something a little bit different than just strictly click-on stuff. There's some other elements that'll take place throughout the gameplay. And that's just generally a positive that I find about this. Although I feel like it could have actually gotten a little bit further down that rabbit hole, I wonder what happens if you start unlocking armor or weapon upgrades or, you know, any of the traditional RPG tropes that would manifest well in something like this. Would that then help you justify calling this more of a proper game? I don't know. I'm kind of curious to know the general idea behind that. Maybe it was for that reason that the developer decided to omit characteristics such as adding armor and weapons because, well, let's face it, it's an RPG. I guess you could say an action RPG even. And that just sort of comes naturally. Like, I can't imagine the developer didn't think of that, considering the source material that this is kind of drawing from. So it's just kind of interesting thinking about the design process for something like this and how you decide when to draw a line about what should or should not happen in something like this. I've never really decided to, you know, embark on the idea of making a Skinner box game, but I think I would probably have some interesting ideas for one if I really did want to. Let's go to level 9 here. And what are we making now for drops? 8 gold per. Alright, so we're actually just about to unlock Brittany the Beach Princess. And one more kill should do it. I should probably also show you all some of the options as well. Since there are actually some useful ones here, we've got save. You can save at any time. It does actually save, I think, all the time when you're playing, so you can just close the game in your browser and play it again whenever you want. There's an import, which means that you can actually grab the text from this and actually, you know, put it in a text file, then grab that file for later. So if you want to have multiple save files, that's the way you can do it. You can see the various text boxes about plus for gold. You can show damage text. You can actually turn that off if you're not interested in looking at it. Tiny monsters helps reduce lag, so if you're having trouble running this, for example, if you wanted to try to play this on a phone or something, I imagine, well, if your phone can use flash, I guess is kind of the important thing. And show individual hero DPS, which is actually a very useful one to turn on, because you can actually see what is contributing the most towards your damage. Then there's also reset here, which if you want to just start over like I mentioned, and which I actually did for the sake of this video. Then in here, we've got various achievements which get unlocked over time. So if you want to kind of track your progress, this is very much cookie clicker. If you've seen the interface for that, I think you'll have a good idea. And then we've got a variety of statistics. And I must say this is very well organized. The UI in this game is very well done. Honestly, everything in this game is very well done. It's really polished, and I'm pretty amazed still, like, that this is a free thing for the amount of work that went into it. And it's still currently in development. There's still a lot of stuff going on with it. You can actually follow, there's a subreddit for this game if you're interested in tracking and talking and being in the discussion for maybe future features. And I believe you can get to that right from this Reddit link here in the top corner. So basically everything you could need at any given point is always ready for you to click on. Although I would kind of like it if maybe some of these extraneous things would be hidden away somewhere. Because, you know, you're not going to need to use the Twitter link more than once. You're probably not going to need to click on the Reddit link all the time. And the quality thing, once you set it up, it's just kind of like there. So maybe these could all get moved into the settings area at the bottom for the sake of just usability and streamlining. And also, I should have mentioned this earlier, you can click anywhere on the right panel of the screen to do damage to enemies, so you don't have to really feel like you have to be right on top of things. You can actually just click and pick up money at the same time, and it works just fine. Also, the sound, if you want to turn on or off the sound effects or music, that's also doable from the bottom of the screen. Kind of wonder why there isn't more music, because as you get onto the game, it's basically the same theme that you've been listening to this whole time. Continues playing ad infinitum. It's not a bad theme, I quite like it in fact, but it does possibly get a little bit tiresome over time. So we can increase DPS by 100%, I'm going to buy that. Who's the first one that has a active ability? I don't think it's going to happen for a little while. I kind of wanted to show you what that looked like, but at the same time, probably not going to happen for a bit, so I'm not too worried about it. So if we get up to level 25 on Sid's power-ups, we're going to get the Click Storm skill, and that is actually the first one, so maybe we could actually get up to that. We can also automate buying levels if we need to. As you'll see at the bottom, Shift plus Click is for 10 levels, Control plus Click for 100. So if you want to just dump a bunch of money into something, you can totally do that, and it's not a huge deal. So now we just need to build up to 250 gold again, and we'll get this amount necessary, and then we'll kill the boss at level 10, and we'll be good to go. I'm not actually sure where the levels end as far as world number, but it seems like it's got enough to last you for a very, very, very long time. And I mentioned that there's not necessarily a ton of diversity in the monsters. There's some, don't get me wrong. It's just what I was thinking is, as you get up in terms of level, for world levels, it doesn't seem like you're necessarily fighting things that are that much scarier, per se, than they were prior. I mean, being at, like, level 250 as my character and, like, level 55, in terms of game world progression, I'm still fighting, essentially, like mushrooms and stuff, which, you know, it's no big deal. Maybe things do scale later on, but for now, it doesn't seem like it goes all that crazy. Alright, so now we've got Click Storm, automatically performs 10 clicks per second for 30 seconds, and it's got a 10-minute cooldown, so when I use this, I've used it for a while. There's also ones that I think the cooldown goes up to like an hour, and you can actually look through all of these on your own time if you want to get all the scoop on when you're going to be able to unlock certain things. But before I had the active ability skill tree thing there, like, I couldn't even look at them yet, so I did have to get one to be able to see it. Anyway, let's go to level 10 and fight this boss. I could probably kill it pretty easily without even using the skill, but I'm going to use it just for the sake of argument here. And the achievements also unlock passive stuff, too, at times, which is pretty awesome, too. So it's just like there's always some kind of progression happening, whether or not you're trying. And the bosses obviously give you a bigger bonus for gold. Although I have to say, I don't think it's as big a bonus as maybe I would have liked to see, but, you know, it's just my own personal preference. Anyway, we've killed Emperor Scorpinch quite a few times already, and looks like we're pretty much at where I need to be for this video's sake. So I think we're actually going to wrap things up. This was Clicker Heroes, totally free to play if you want to go play it. There's no attempt at even monetizing this. There's no ads. As far as I've seen, there's no anything. So, like, if you want to play this, it is a pure experience. Feel free. You'll probably catch me streaming it a few times. I've already done about a 3.5-hour stream of this once. But I'm still addicted, so I'm going to be playing it a lot more. Let me know what you think about those questions that I posited earlier, because I am very genuinely curious to know what you think about these types of games. Whether you think they're, you know, a waste of time, a waste of energy, a waste of anything, or you think they're fantastic, you're addicted to them, you're like me, you just want to play more and more of them. I don't know why, but I just can't seem to get enough of games like this, so... It seems really strange since it kind of flies in the face of, like, my general stance against, like, free-to-play style games, although I think that's kind of counterbalanced by the fact that this doesn't have any attempt at monetization. I have to wonder how the developer makes money off of this, honestly. Maybe there's something I'm missing here, or maybe I'm a scum and I'm missing an ad that I should be seeing or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's going to do it for another day, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like, because it helps me out a whole bunch, and I apologize for all the money I have not spent on power-ups right now. I guess I'll buy this 4,000 Wandering Fishman, and all of a sudden, yeah, I'm doing a lot more damage here. So yeah, I'll see you again for a new episode tomorrow. Thanks again for watching. Links in the description, and I will see you later. Have a great night, everybody.